Karen's not here. It's her birthday, her son's birthday today.
Oh, good reason.
And I guess he has something at 6, so this is the only time she could be with him for his birthday. So.
Sherry, it's a good thing you showed up.
Are you okay, Sherry?
I'm sick.
Oh.
I don't have COVID. I took a test. I don't
She
have
keeps
it.
telling me.
Well, since I'm always sitting next to Andy, I could take this off because I don't care if I make him sick or not.
That's true.
Well, I'll tell you this, when I had not COVID, and I had COVID, the not COVID was 3 times worse than the COVID I had, so, just,
It's, yeah.
What is it? I mean, did you have that stuff that lasts about 4 days?
I had it lasted 2 weeks. And my son had it and his family, and, the COVID didn't last 3 days when I had it.
You're lying.
You're lying.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to call this meeting to order, and the first thing is we need to approve our agenda. I'd like to add an item number 6A, and it has to do with computers for the Treasurer's Department. If there's any other additions?
I motion to approve with that addition.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 4-0. Minutes from November the 18th. I want to take these individually.
We can take them together unless somebody has an objection.
The only, I will abstain from them because I wasn't in attendance. But if you're okay with taking them both at the same time, so be it. I need a motion for acceptance of the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
Any discussions?
Who seconded?
I did.
Greg did. Hearing no discussions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 301. Rubric discussion. Greg, you're on.
I'm on, huh?
And
Okay.
Sherry will fill in, but not often.
Yeah, I'm hoping Sherry will fill in a one, to tell you the truth, so.
Well, when Sherry talks too much, she starts coughing, so I will do my best.
Yeah. Just don't let me be stupid. That's all I ask.
Can I ask a question first before we start? When this is finalized and we agree upon it, is it proper, or are we making this public to how we're going to score them?
I think we should.
I think
Absolutely,
so, too.
we
I mean,
should.
I have no problem. I mean, in reality, too, since we're going over in a public meeting, it automatically becomes
will.
public
Right.
information,
Sure.
so,
Concur.
yeah,
And I think as transparent as we can keep it,
absolutely.
then they're well aware of how we'll rate these applications.
Communicate, right? So,
Okay.
all right, so, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this thing on, I guess, so that we got it. And I'll see if I got one. Let's do nonprofit first. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna throw it up there so you guys can see it, so, as soon as it comes on, I'm sorry. The first one, though, is organizational information. Basically, the biggest piece in there was the numbers of years operating. And so the more years they were actually operating, the higher the rating we actually gave them. We did give it a weight of 5%.
So
you know.
it doesn't count for much, but it
Yeah.
does put just a little bit in there.
A little bit, yeah. So even, that basically, if they got even a 4, they get .02 of a point, so. Okay. Any objections to that one? Okay. Finance, difference in gross revenue. So this one was a higher rating. It was 40%, because we figured if they actually did have a difference in their revenue, and they could show that it was COVID related, all that kind of good stuff, then it basically had significance to it. So no difference is a 1, low difference is a 2, 3 is medium, and 4 is significant difference. Obviously, your definition of low, medium, and significant is personalized, because you're going to have to look at these and actually kind of give them a rating based on what you think.
So just to explain a little bit more with the personalized definitions.
Yep.
It's you know, what I think is low and what I think is significant is going to be different than what Greg thinks. But the point is, I'm grading all of mine identically.
Right.
Using the same thought process. And Greg's grading here, we're not looking at one another's when we grade them.
Yeah. And the other thing to this one too is, most of the time when I do these, I tend to read them all at one point, and let's say the first one, I rate them at a low, right? And because they only had, I'm just gonna make up numbers here, these have no significance whatsoever. But they had a difference of $10,000, right? And I go, oh, that seems low, and I'll put low. And then I read through all the other ones, and they're all like 2,000. Well, that makes 0 sense when I'm trying to compare these 3 applications. So I may go back and adjust my thought process, but I do it on all of them the same way still. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's absolutely how
Yeah.
average should be
My
done.
question, Greg, is that if we have an organization that normally takes in $30,000 and they lost $15,000, it was a 50% reduction.
That's very significant.
To me, I was going to think of it in a percentage. I didn't want to buy. I mean, I don't think we're biasing each other, but in my mind, that's how I was going to do it to begin with. Is what was their total revenue? What they lose? And if it's like 1% of the revenue, that's less significant than somebody that lost 40% of their revenue, right? So
Where you had somebody that maybe has a $500,000 budget,
Yeah.
that lost $15,000.
doesn't mean as much,
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, again, you got to kind of put those in your own terms, but it gives you a little bit of guidance. If we could program this to where there wasn't any human in it, then we would just let the computer do it. But that's not the world we're going to live in here. So it's just to give you a thought process, a flow, kind of an idea. So
But like Sherry said, if you use the same thought process when you're doing
should
it,
be
that makes it
consistent.
fair.
yeah, it's
That's
consistent.
right.
It's
That's
consistent.
right.
Yep. Low challenge to address, this is on the project overview, challenges and benefits. Low challenge to address and low impact on county residents. Low challenge to address and high impact on county residents. Significant challenge to address and low impact on county residents, and significant challenge and high impact. So you can see that basically there's 4, and it's a little different than what's printed. Me and Randy fixed number 2. It was wrong. So I had low in there when it should have been high. So I did that beforehand. But if you look at it, it's the 2 words there. So challenge to address, what that means is it a big challenge to the county? Not is it hard for them to accomplish, but is it a big challenge to the county? Is that something that's, important to the county? Is it something that we need to address, but it's hard to do? So if it's a low challenge and low impact meaning that we actually accomplish something, right? We actually fix something, then that's a 1. And then the next one, it's still a low challenge. It's not that big of a challenge to the county, but it's got a high, the project will end up having a high impact, then it's a 2. So on and so on. Sometimes I draw a little square to demonstrate this one, but I think you get the gist. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay.
Could you scroll that all the way up?
Are you wanting these uploaded on the website?
Yes, yes.
And you will get me the updated versions?
As soon as we're done,
Okay,
yep.
great.
Yep.
I wanted to explain one other thing while we're here. Notice how this grouping, the first 2, it
Oh,
was a
sorry.
percentage just for, one question. These down here, it's a percentage for multiple questions. So the way someone would do this is they would go through, and maybe challenges and benefits, they rated a 3, a 2, a 2, a 3, a 2, and a 2. Then what you do as a grader is look where most of your check marks are. And if most of your check marks are here, then you're going to rate it a 2, even though you had some in the 3 and maybe some in the 1. But wherever most of your check marks were. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, and then the next one, you weren't kidding. We can't have you talk too much. You're going to off yourself to the poor thing. Plan for sustainability. Poor plan for maintaining the service/program. Marginal planning for maintaining the service program. Good planning for maintaining. Excellent plan for maintaining. So again, it goes back to that sustainability piece. Do they have a path forward, basically, after this money is gone? Current funds, poor planning for addressing challenges and utilizing the funds. Marginal, good, and excellent. Again, just trying to put some verbiage to what we're looking at. Measuring success. No goals, no measurable goals. That really should see measurable goals, not just measure goals. No measurable goals. Some measurable goals. Measurable goals and measurable goals with timeline. This one here doesn't make sense to me. That should have like several. There
Do
we
we
go.
have those forms, that form there?
You're going to be
You-
able.
you'll be able to have them.
Once we approve it, see, what we're determining is how we're going to rate every application. Each one of us will do it individually, not in conjunction with anyone else.
Okay.
But we have to weight each part of that application as to what we value. And that's, without anybody, there'll be 7 of us that'll vote on it, and then we'll come up with a generated number.
Okay.
I'll upload these rubrics on the website, on the Perry County website, on the
Oh.
ARP grant application page. They'll be there. Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, neighbor.
Individuals to be served is greater than 25, greater than 50, greater than 100, greater than 200. Any suggestions on the numbers, if we should move them around, or?
I wonder if they ought to be upped a little bit, because there's, there's 19,000 people in Perry County, and everything above 200 is all the same.
Mhm.
So,
So maybe the top number higher and then
yeah.
go down from there?
You
Right.
talking like a fact?
We're going to value something that impacts more people higher.
Yeah.
So maybe you're correct, to get it up to something,
Maybe you do a factor of 10 on them? You just change them all by a factor of 10?
up to 2,000, that'd be a big one.
I'm just saying, what number do you want to multiply them by? That's what I would do, right?
My opinion is by 10. I mean, because it gives the applicant the chance to think about their application, that, how can I do a project that impacts 2,000 people? Not hard to come up with a project that impacts 200. But, to get that higher rating.
I just wouldn't want to multiply the lower one by 10, because that's an awfully high number for the low end.
Okay.
Mhm.
So maybe exponential then, maybe we do greater than 20, let's do,
Leave the 25. where
leave the
it's at.
25, go to greater than
So you're going to go to
250,
2,000 at the top one, right?
and then greater than 1,000. So I just did kind of a little exponential curve there.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Is that okay?
I'm okay with that. I mean,
Okay. Okay. And again, as we're reading these, if there's like 10 applicants and it doesn't make sense, the numbers that we have, then mentally you readjust yourself and you reevaluate. So,
well, if you have all of them in a certain category and one drops way to the bottom,
yeah,
you're not going to really consider that anyway. You'll
No.
turn them into a 2 or 3 or whatever.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. You gotta have some common sense and some reality here. Okay. Risk assessment, no risk identified. Risk identified but no actions. Risk identified and partial actions identified. Well-defined and mitigating actions identified for all of them. This is kind of a risk assessment, risk planning kind of piece here, so that's what this is all about. Just how well have they thought about what could go wrong, and then put in things to keep them from happening.
And each one of these categories correlate to questions on your application.
Yes.
We didn't just make those up. We went through and put the questions in there from the application.
Okay, because I'm with part of it on here, but some of the other stuff I've already got there, I don't even see it on the,
Is this, you got the nonprofit application in
That's
front of
the
you?
same form.
Yeah,
okay. All
Should
right, I'm
be
sorry.
up there.
Sorry.
yeah. It's all right. So, all right. Is everybody okay with that section?
Mhm.
Weight of 35? You're all right?
I'm just asking,
Mm-hmm.
the 40 compared to the 35,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the project overview, the impact, should that weigh a little more than the finance, or we put more emphasis on how much, basically how much they lost because of COVID? I mean,
Right. That was our thought process, just a little bit more impact on what they lost because of COVID. Otherwise, it doesn't really fall into what the grant is for.
Right.
It's supposed to be for loss from COVID.
okay, yeah, I see that.
Yep.
Changes.
Just a question.
Over there on the 40 finance.
That one there. There are misspelled words. Sorry, the dyslexic in me did not find them, so
I'm sorry, I didn't catch them either.
that's all right.
And I can't spell.
I'm just glad when people catch them, because then I know they're actually reading it. Budget info. Requested amount compared to loss. This is kind of basically their, did they ask for more than what they lost, or did they ask for less than what they lost, is basically what this boils down to. So greater than amount lost, same as amount lost, amount less than total lost, amount significantly less than total loss. In other words, are they trying to minimize what they're asking for just to get them by, or get them there, or, you know, are they working with another agency to get money, which you'll see that later on in the other questions here too. So,
We left the word out there, Greg.
we did.
Right here.
Request amount compared to amount lost, thank you. It should be lost at that point? It should be lost.
No, we needed a word between requested and amount. We requested a greater amount compared to loss.
Mhm. Good? Or did I misunderstand?
Maybe I'm not understanding.
I put a comment in, requested amount compared to amount lost.
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. I'm not.
You got it?
I apologize.
No apologies.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad we're doing this. So
No,
no,
I'm
it's
sorry.
great, it's fine.
You got it. It's all good.
Okay. The next two kind of go together, so I'm going to do them together, matching grants and percent match. So a 1 is a no, and a 2 is a no. The percent match is 0 and 0. I would like to put a different number in there, we just weren't sure what number to put in there. The no and no probably stays. The number 3, yes, 25, and number 4, yes, 50, is basically what's the percent match. So my question was, do we make this a yes and put a number here and adjust these? Or are you okay leaving these as being no? Because you're not really just rating this section on these one of these
Right.
questions, you're rating it on the whole. So I think having these two the same is okay. It's just that you won't get anything for that until here, so.
The problem is when you look at requested amount that matches, normally you don't get a grant that matches less than 25%.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. If we did this yes, we'd have to shift them all, it'd be 25, 50, double your money, basically, kind of thing. That's what we'd have to do. Sorry for standing in front of it, trying to explain.
I kind of like the idea of shifting 25%.
The only thing is you got a 1 and a 2, which would allow you to, there's no difference there.
Yeah, but that's when these two questions would come into play.
Overall.
Right.
Right?
The difference
There's
between
no
1 and
reward.
2 is the top and the bottom.
The reward doesn't start till,
Get up to matching and 25%.
Yeah.
But you say that's minimum that they ever match? is
Pretty well.
25%.
Typically, that's the way. It's usually 25 to, they basically give you the
It's
same
a-
amount you put in. They match your match, basically.
That's
Yeah,
dollar for
20
dollar.
Dollar for dollar.
yeah, 20,
100%.
Maybe we could do yes, 25, yes, 50, and yes, 100. I don't know.
Dollar for dollar if you come up with a match like that.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Greg, I didn't understand that this was a matching grant. I thought this was a forgivable loan.
No, this is if you have this, it's a benefit towards your application. So in other words, if you have another grant that's out there outside of this one, and it's a matching grant, and you can use this money as your match,
Okay.
then you make our dollars double, triple, whatever, however, basically, however it's
Not a-
gonna work for
Okay,
you.
that makes sense.
Not a requirement, but it does add value
It
to
does
the
add
application.
value.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And again, this is only 10% of the scoring. It's not a huge amount of the scoring. It just gives someone an edge who went to the trouble of getting a matching grant.
I'm gonna put dollar for dollar there, because I think people will understand that better.
I didn't think it was a match.
You spelled dollar.
Good question.
Did I spell dollar right?
You did.
Okay, I was like, I thought I did.
Good.
I'm the worst speller that ever existed in life,
No,
so.
they are,
That's
isn't
right there.
And then solid budget, poor budget, questionable budget, good budget, solid budget. So it's basically looking at their budget.
You want to
info.
put marginal budget in there.
Instead of questionable?
So
Just to
stay
be consistent, sure.
So someone doesn't ask, what's the difference?
Absolutely. 10% weighted. You all right with it?
Mhm.
Okay. And then other info, 10% weighted, additional outside rewards, received 75% of requested funds / loss, received 50%, 25%, received 25% of requested funds. These two are the same. They shouldn't be, but, oh, I'm sorry, less than. Sorry, I didn't see the less than. There, it actually is different, less than. This is whether we ask, like, did you also apply to Tell City? Right, and did you get money from them? Or
Right,
whoever.
or anyone else.
Yeah, whoever.
Yeah,
I think,
Even though you apply for Tell City, they're so far behind where you are, you're not gonna know whether you've gotten funds from them or not.
yeah, and so you basically won't, you'll say that you applied for them, but you don't know what you've gotten yet.
Okay.
But that's how we'll
And
factor
and
it.
we've talked about that, is we'll probably provide Tell City with our list of
Who got.
recipients
Of applicants.
for
Mhm.
their,
They'll know.
for their knowledge, so they know
Yeah.
who we funded.
And then obviously, if we have a round two, we'll have all of both of them basically in the loop at that point, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. You okay with that one?
Mhm.
Okay, let's go to small business.
You've got the same type of things that you'll need to update on the mental health rubric that you did just on this not-for-profits?
Yeah, we're gonna go through all of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
just to keep that in mind with relation there.
Yep.
Okay.
So number of years operating and total employees. And basically, we got some numbers there. You can tell me if you agree with those ranges or not.
Looks pretty fair to me.
Are we talking full-time employees, or how, or does it make a difference?
We discussed that when we were kind of filling this
Yeah.
out, and we didn't know if we would put, I thought about putting FTE in there, which means if you have two half-times, then that's one. But I don't know how to explain that really well. It gets really complicated, you know.
It's 10%, so it's not a huge amount.
I think if
even if
it's,
someone's employed part-time.
it's still valuable to that
It's still
person.
valuable to that person. It's
Yeah.
money coming to their family.
Yeah.
And some people rely on part-time.
Yes,
Mhm.
they do.
Yeah.
That's all we can find.
Yeah. Okay, so proof of need. Difference in gross revenue, none, low difference, medium difference, significant difference. It's kind of what we had before, right?
Mhm.
Additional outside rewards. These.
Significant needs to be.
Oh,
spelled
thank
check.
you. Spell check there.
What's that?
Significant. Significant.
Question we have is the G.
So the additional outside rewards, it's the same wording as the last one. Business closure, didn't close, less than 3 months, less than 6 months, greater than 6 months. Okay with those ranges? Okay. Employees laid off? None. 50% greater than 3 months, 50% greater than 6 months, 100% greater than 3 months. And obviously, this is where a little bit of that humanness comes in there, right? Because it may not match exactly in these categories, but it gives you a feeling for what you're looking for.
Should we make the 50% 3 months? Oh, I see what you're saying, never mind.
Mhm.
I'll withdraw the question.
No worries. Silence is bliss. So retention of employees, no issues, some issues, significant issues, spelt correctly. Significant issues even with wage incentives. Got to get bonus when I can, right?
I like it.
See, some of the people though, let's think about this here.
Okay.
They actually they had to shut down.
Hmm?
Then they tried to start back up.
Yes.
And their employees didn't come back. They
Right.
stayed on unemployment or something like that. Not that the job wasn't there.
Correct. Correct.
So what is our weight between some and significant issues? It's
Well, that's
not
gonna
that
be up to you as an individual.
we
what you
decide whether
think.
okay.
It's really in your ballpark at that point. Which,
Because I know there's several employers, especially the restaurants.
Mhm.
struggle
Oh, yeah,
To get
absolutely.
people back to work.
well, some jobs you made more staying home than you did going back.
Especially
So,
with the extra money.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
Right.
yeah. Risk, and it's not necessarily that you have had a job opening, it's that you couldn't fill the job opening, regardless of what the reasons were, whether it was that or something else, right? So, risk assessment, again, it's the same ones we had before. No risk identified but no actions. Risk identified and partial actions identified. Risk well-defined and mitigating actions identified for all of them. Weight of 60%. Again, silence tells me to scroll on.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Budget info, requested amount compared to loss. Requested greater than, these are the same as before, requested same as amount lost. Requested amount less than total loss, requested amount significantly less than total loss. Lost. Amount lost. That's, we changed that one there. Lost. Matt?
Now.
Yes?
Okay, never mind. You're moving. Go on.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to talk about the others where we
Oh,
adjusted
Matt-
the numbers and that.
Yes.
And the other one for the nonprofits. Do we want to do that here also?
I'm perfectly good with that.
I think it would save confusion. before.
Absolutely. Consistency is great. Solid budget, same thing there. We'll change that to marginal.
Yeah, that, my opinion, if you don't have an accurate budget, that should be a huge red flag.
Yeah. That's 30%.
When you really look at it though, you've got 3 different items, 30%, that's 10%. The other one, you had 6 items, 60%, 10%. The top one was at 10%.
Yeah, but it-
So I mean, you're still,
Really, if you look at this one, and one of the things that I wish we would have done on the application, and we actually talked about this, but we were like, no, we're not going to go backwards again, is that some of the grouping of the questions would have been better if we grouped some questions together in one place other than
Right.
another place. But it still will work to, if you look at this one, it's all about the budget. So it's not necessarily you're giving 7.5, because 4 into 30 is 7.5. It's not you're giving 7.5% to the top question and the third, and each one down. It's the overall. You're going to take your humanness into it, and you're going to say overall. So to Tom's point, if these are all really, really good and up here, me personally, and again, I'm going to go, me personally, I might look at this and say they have a really poor budget. Even though they got all this, I don't see how they're doing it. And so that may make me say, well, it's not a 4 or a 3, it's a 2, or, human part of it comes into play then. But you gotta realize that. Because it is all of them together, you know what I'm saying?
And to regroup these, we would have had to go back and redo
Oh,
the
the whole application.
And we've spent enough time on this thing.
Well, I didn't want to delay it for the people any longer.
Yeah.
That was the thing, right? And this will work. Nothing will ever be perfect.
The next pandemic, you'll be set.
Next pandemic, or maybe round 2 of this one will be.
For the
will be
next-
fine.
I mean, you
If there
may
is
make
one.
some tweaks on round 2.
If there is one, well, maybe this be our learning lessons for that, right? Okay. Mental health? Number of years operating, same as last time, 5%. Project overview, challenges and benefits, same, but we changed something in here. What did we change?
Yeah,
Oh,
we changed something.
Oh, it's fixed in
On
this
county
one.
residents, we put county residents.
County residents? Yes, we did, yeah. That's what it was, yeah.
Change that to marginal plan for maintaining service and programs.
Here,
Yeah. That way there's a difference.
and it's consistent with the other ones too, right? That's usually where we use it. Same as this
Same
one?
with the one below, yeah.
Measuring success, no measures, measurable goals, some measurable goals, measurable goals with timeline, same as last time. I'm assuming individuals to be served, we're going
I think we added several to measurable goals under number 3.
we
on
did,
this one.
we did. And then this was 1,000. And then that was 2,000.
Well, there's another question on that. Fewer number of people that you have an impact on with mental health, I believe, has a higher impact on the community. You know, from what I see. You see what I'm saying? If you help 200 people in mental health, it could have a greater effect on the community than if you help 200 people in other aspects. You follow me?
Oh, you mean mental health in itself has a higher weighting?
She's thinking it's a multiplying type effect. In other words,
Mhm.
if you can.
I will say that with the grouping on the not-for-profit rubric, where we're talking about individuals served,
Mhm.
that's only 35%, and on this mental health one, it's 60%. So we try to take that into consideration as well.
We'll see.
So it's a much bigger percentage on mental health. I agree with you, Tom.
And an individual nonprofit.
But what do you think about the numbers?
Well, that's what I'm saying. To directly impact 2,000 people with a program, a mental health program, is going to be very difficult.
I
To
agree. I think
achieve.
we need to move those back down to where they were.
I'm good with that.
25, 50, 100, and 200, and that's,
I'm good with that.
Right.
It's a higher challenge. It's like
Yeah.
the other question that we talked about, low challenge versus significant challenge. Mental health, all in itself, is a higher challenge, a more significant challenge.
and we.
Right, and there's less resources
Yeah,
Yeah.
for mental health.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. Risk assessment, same as we did before. No risk identified but no actions. Risk identified and partial actions identified. Risk well defined and mitigated actions identified for all of them. And I think that is it for health, if I want to remember. Oh, no, budget. No, it isn't. I'm sorry. I thought there was 3. Okay, budget info. Request amount compared to lost. Amount lost. I'll fix that one. But go ahead and look at the wording. I think it's all the same.
I think we'll take it like we did the others.
And then same on the matching again.
Yeah, I would think.
But that makes sense. Especially dollar for dollar. That encourages other people to step up to the plate.
I worded that wrong on this one.
Well, change questionable to marginal.
Marginal. Good catch. Thank you.
Did you go back and change your dollar to dollar for dollar?
Yes,
on the other?
on this one. I think it was already that one here.
Yeah.
I just screwed up. I screwed up on that one, but I fixed it. 25% weight. Okay. Other info, additional outside rewards, received 75%, received 50%, received 25%, received less than 25%. 10% weight. Solid? Solid. Okay. I'm going to save it. I want to talk about scoring, just so that we kind of have a feel for what scoring will look like. So you have your different rubrics, right? This first one just shows you how an average with minus, low, and high works versus an average, just so that you can see. So item 1 up here, let's say that was one of these questions that were, or sections that we were rating. If you have in there the reviewers and they all score it, and let's say all of them scored a 2 except for number 7, he scores it a 10. Who knows why, right? But if he does that, it makes the average 3. If we go in and we actually remove the low and the high, what it does is it gets rid of those outliers, right? The things that are kind of weird or wacky in the data. And it basically brings it back down to what you would think it would be, 2. So it's basically a way of getting out those outliers. So I highly suggest that we do this. We average with the low and the high removed. So
Yeah, I think we already agreed
yeah,
to do that.
yeah. Just wanted to demonstrate it and show that that's the way we're going to do it. Yeah.
I've got a question with that.
Mhm.
I don't know how much conflict is going to come up here.
Right?
And whenever it becomes 2 people,
Yep. I understand.
and that would be my concern.
I hope that it doesn't come down to 2 from 7 people, but I totally understand your concern.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe
Even
that
3
would
would
help.
make it.
Yeah, see, and he threw 2 of them out on the third one.
The third one,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point.
But I mean, it's the problem, and I understand why you don't want to review something you have a connection with.
Yeah.
So that's something we need to consider if it happens.
And the other question I have on that one too, that we can consider before the 24th, and I don't mean to add agenda, but since we're on the topic, it makes sense to bring it up. I most likely won't do nonprofit. There's like almost zero chance that I won't have, the ones that apply, there won't be anybody in there, and I feel like it would be weird. So when it comes, I'm sorry, I said nonprofit, I meant small business. It would be really weird for me. So I probably won't do that one. Would it be allowed to have a proxy? In other words, can I pick a councilman or another commissioner or whatever to actually do, if I asked Randy if he would, or another commissioner if he would actually score those? Is that out of bounds? So that you have more people scoring them.
I think that's something,
And I don't want an answer
I don't
tonight.
like that because we've all been involved in
I
all
think-
of these
that's what my fear.
discussions, and
It's my
other
fear.
people have not.
Yeah.
And I think we.
I wanted to
just-
offer it up because I feel bad that I know that I'm going to drop you to 6 on that one application
But
style.
6 is fine.
Okay. I just,
yeah,
but I
I
just,
think
Six is
we don't have
fine.
the 3.
What if we put average minus high and low with 5 or more
Minimum,
scores?
yeah,
We can
minimum
do that.
number of scores.
We
can do it that way.
So in other words, we don't kick 2 out if we drop below a
certain level.
number.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm all right with that.
And then that
I
would
am
be.
too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good idea.
Excellent. Thank you. Because I had the same fears, and I thought, the only thing that I could think of was a proxy, but I had the same fear that you did, that they don't have the same knowledge level or, all the stuff that we've been doing together. You know what I'm saying?
What number
We're kind of
would-
all kind of synced, and I don't want to
What
get
number will we use, 5?
5 sounds good to me.
At least 3,
So that means
That's 3
5.
scores down.
minimum
So,
of
so
3.
if you hit 5, you no longer subtract. So
No, we do, right?
We
If
do,
we
s-
get 5, we still have 3 people scoring.
Yes.
and then
That's
if
what
we
you're
drop,
That's what I'm-
if we drop
Yeah.
4,
4,
we don't,
We
They all
consider all
score.
4.
We consider all 4.
easy
if that
peasy.
works for everybody.
Easy peasy. I can make that happen. Yeah.
Am
Okay.
I okay with that?
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there'll be certain categories. I mean, I don't know how many I'm going to abstain from until I see the application. I don't
It's-
know who all's gonna
That's
apply.
where
That's where everybody is.
Yeah,
That's
you-
where
until you
everybody
see
is.
who applies.
And I say that about the small business, but it may be that 3 small businesses apply and I go, I have no relation to any of these. And then I'll score. I'll do it, but I just don't want to put any kinks in this whatsoever. The last one is just showing you if someone doesn't score, it still works. It just, and again, going back to your whole thing, if you get less than 5, we'll stop doing it. Okay. This is an example score, just so you can see how that works in total. So for instance, this one, I put numbers in there and you get an average score for each one of the items based on the reviewers. And then what it does is it multiplies that score, that average score, by the weight and gives you a weighted score. And then those are added up to give you the total score, is how that
I
works.
think people will be surprised how accurate this is.
I have used this on scholarships, hiring people. It's a very accurate system.
We used to use it with
Yeah.
pay rates when I was with the shipyard, and it amazed me how accurate.
Mhm. Especially,
It takes out the, I hate to say subjectivity, but it
yeah, it does. And the other
makes
thing,
it fair.
the other thing is it allows you to blend different mindsets as
Right.
well.
Mhm.
You know, I consistently score a certain way. You're consistently mindset at score a different way. But in the end, they all kind of blend together, and it still makes sense. So, and I really like it when you take the low and the high out. So I hope that we keep above 5 on all these, because I think that's important too. So, all right. Anyway, so we got that. What's that?
I said that was easy, I'm
Oh.
So do we need a motion?
Yeah, we did.
If we're done discussing it, I'll entertain a motion and we'll put this to the plate.
I'll make a
Everybody's-
motion.
Is everybody okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll second
No other discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm abstaining. Like I said, on all these things, I've been abstaining, so it's okay.
Okay, so it's gonna be 3-0-1.
3-0-1.
Should I abstain since I helped create this?
No, I abstain just because of the whole small business thing.
Gotcha.
Again, I'm just trying to
Gotcha.
avoid all that as much as possible.
it. I think you're fine.
I know, but I'm just trying to play it safe. I want to be on the safe side.
Next item's conflict of interest. Greg, you and Sherry put that together also?
Actually, no, I
Yeah,
I sent this to, I asked Emily. I said, I know we have these, because I've done scholarships with Emily before. And I said, I know we had a form for this before. Can you send it to me? And then I forwarded that to Chris Goffner, and Chris added the financial piece. He gave 2 different versions here, but I believe if you look at them, this one has everything this one has in it and more. So I think this one is the one that I would settle with, because it has both close relationships, financial interest, significant relationships. It also helps you understand what a true conflict of interest is, what an appearance of a conflict of interest is, because sometimes that's just as important. Confidentiality, review of applications, and acknowledgement. And then basically you just list the ones that you think you would have conflict of interest with and sign off on it. So,
The only thing is you check the box here in recusal on this one, where I don't see that box on the other one.
oh, that's a good point. They have the checkbox for the I don't have an conflict, but I see what you're saying.
All right.
Yeah, let's add that recusal to the
Yeah,
bottom.
I'm assuming that's the reason for it.
Yeah. I'll have him put these 2 paragraphs at the bottom of the first one. How's that sound?
Mm-hmm.
That way you check one or the other,
Sure.
and then you go from there. Okay. All right. And we'll have you'll actually fill out one of these for each type. That way you've got nonprofit, mental, and then the other, so that you just,
When would we like to make those due?
24th, because that's when we'll know we're going to meet again. All the applications should be in, and she's going to bring us a list of who applied.
Gotcha.
So we should be able to do that on our 24th meeting.
So, am I envisioning if we have 50 applicants, we're going to fill, each one will fill out 50 documents?
No, you fill out one document for each type of form.
Okay.
So
So we
each type
need to
of
have just a
application.
list
For
so we
the
can.
type, yeah.
Yep. And then you're going to put in there, let's say there's 50 applicants and 2 of them, you're just going to write the 2 right there.
Okay.
That you have a conflict with.
Then if the other 48,
You don't write.
even though I have a checkbox that says I have no interest in what's that statement?
None of my family members.
Including, so, I mean, are we gonna just not address that? Are we only gonna fill these ones out for actual conflicts?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's my
So then
opinion.
we don't need that, that I don't have an issue then, right?
Well, if you don't have an issue with anyone, you're
You don't
still
fill
gonna
one
say-
out. Yeah, I mean,
So I'll
Okay,
fill-
we'll just not fill one out, you're right.
That's what I'm
You're
yeah,
thinking.
you just don't fill one
Other
out.
than that, you're gonna fill it out for 48,
Yeah,
but
you're
you
right.
have no conflicts.
Yeah, so we'll just scratch this piece right here, the not applicable piece, and just have the recusal.
Only for the
recusal.
ones that actually affect you.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I like that. I like that. It's cleaner, for sure. Okay. What else was on the agenda?
Any other, hold it.
Oh, we gotta vote on it, I'm sorry.
You're in
So
a
sorry.
hurry. Any other discussions on that form, conflict of interest? I'll entertain a motion in a second.
So moved.
Tom,
I'll second.
Sherry, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, I can vote on that one.
4-0.
Yeah, you're one
I
thing
can
you
finally
do.
vote on that one.
So we're taking items 5 off because we're putting it into two different, one separate form.
Yeah.
Instead of having two.
Don't you think?
So it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 6, Teresa brought this up, we're gonna be voting in here for our April
Oh.
awards.
Okay.
So, where might we meet for that?
We can use the Armory classroom, but
Is this for the awards, though?
It'd
Depends
be
on
April.
how well attended you feel it's gonna be,
Mhm.
because
I was gonna say maybe the depot, because it would hold more people,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
But
does
we've
have
done
more.
it there before.
Well, the question, I think that might be a big one whenever we award them.
Yeah.
Because people will
Wanna
want to
come.
know what we're doing and then probably ask some questions.
Yeah, yeah.
do we know the availability of the depot?
I do not.
We don't know,
That's
we just
Tell
have to
City,
find out. if someone-
CVB, we'll have to check with Betty,
Okay.
Uh,
or whoever's gonna be there at that time. It won't
That would
Betty
be
then.
big enough, I'm assuming. Any others of that size to be a second one we could ask with?
Sure,
Shergan
that's a
Center?
good idea.
What's that?
Shergan Center?
Southern Center, maybe the
Mhm.
high school.
Will it be that well attended?
Ivy Tech maybe, or, I don't know, but 4 o'clock, I don't know if that might be an option.
Well, yeah, we could ask.
Oh, that's a good
Mhm.
idea, too. So we've got tons of places to consider.
When do, I mean, I can check with Rhonda on the 4-H fairground schedule.
What's our first?
What's
where
your
would we
first
like
choice?
to go first?
The depot.
Depot?
I just asked Betty, we'll see if she responds in the next few minutes.
Second?
Fairgrounds?
Fairgrounds, maybe? I would be
Yeah.
okay with that.
Shergan Center is big, you know.
Tom, normally, is the fairgrounds available?
It should be at that time.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, so if we don't,
Sometimes
Just keep in
those
mind, if
kids
it's at
meet.
like the depot or anywhere, it's gonna involve a little setup. So we're gonna need some help
Yeah,
getting it set up.
chairs and stuff, yep.
So we just need to come early. to
come
set
early
up,
and get it
is
set
what we're
up. Yeah,
saying.
just see whenever they've got, so they don't have something else in there, and we can set it up even a few hours early if they have nothing else in that room.
Yep.
so. But if we're comfortable either or, if the fairgrounds is available, we don't need to get a third then, so
No.
we'll
I
check with the
would,
depot.
I would think one of those two would be available.
Okay.
If everybody's okay with that, we'll just plan on.
First
So let me
choice
know
is
as soon as
depot,
possible,
correct?
and I'll ask.
Yes.
I've already asked Betty, and yes, I'm okay with that, yep.
So, once Betty gets back with you.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, and then Tom can find out.
Okay, so you're all handling that?
Mhm.
Okay.
We can talk about the finalization of it on the 24th at that point.
Right.
Yep.
But go ahead and get it reserved now.
Absolutely,
So that we don't lose it.
absolutely.
Okay. Item 6A, computers for the treasurer's office. We bought a software system, and Amanda's struggling to get it to work. And she was kind enough to
I think I turned it off.
share some of her blank screens with us. Charlie had brought it up at one time. Teresa, do you have one of these?
No, that's okay if you don't have
I got one.
that. Okay,
You got plenty.
thank you.
Charlie brought it up at one time about using ARP funds. It's in the neighborhood about 8,500.
82,
Yeah.
close enough.
About using ARP funds for that use to put it in the treasurer's office. Now, we bought the software and its function is just we have kind of old computers that have a tendency to not perform very well. I told her I'd bring it up for discussion, and if we're in agreement, we can have a vote, or however you want to handle this, but I said we'd bring it up, so
I
I'm open.
just want to point out from looking through this that I don't think it's the software, it is the computers. It says in here, you should use a powerful workstation with a fast processor and plenty of memory, which they do not have.
Always, it's definitely the software's demand on them. Yeah, that's all, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
It's older, and
Yep.
that's how it works.
Yep.
The one thing about it is we kind of obstruct productivity when we buy nice software and then the computer fails.
Right. Well, and these weren't going to last much longer anyway. I mean, if you look at the way, just from an IT perspective, I can tell you right now, the ones that they have in there are not going to last. So this is a much better option.
So the question becomes funding.
We had originally, wasn't originally put aside 400,000 for
I think it's 450. I read the minutes.
450? Okay, and
We
we haven't.
did, but we didn't, this committee didn't vote on any more than what and we particularly said that in the meeting, and when we voted on the software, we did not vote in any more than what we had to, and actually, the software ended up costing a little bit more for some reason or another, and the council found that money because they didn't want to come back to the committee for that. So there is no more money approved, but we did earmark it, I guess is a way to say it. We earmarked it.
So I would like to make a motion to approve these computers for the treasurer's office, so that we haven't wasted our money on software when she can't even use the software
Right.
because the computers are too old.
In the original time when we asked for the software, and I'll second that so we can open up discussion. I really shouldn't be discussing.
Okay.
So second. Okay, so, but the original time we did the software, we basically abstained as elected officials for the software. I think because one, it was a large amount, and the other one was, it was kind of a decision at that point. It really was I think as elected officials, if it's okay with you two as well, I would be willing to vote on this one because one, this is the back end of it. We've already pulled the trigger. We're cleaning up, right?
Probably
So-
should have been included originally.
Should have been included originally. I feel
That's the
comfortable.
age of it.
And it's a smaller amount. I'm okay with us voting on it if it's all right with you two as well.
I'm good. I think it,
The problem we've got
Otherwise,
is...
I'd be the one
Yeah,
voting.
that's-
No, it wouldn't be good. It would, and so I don't want us to necessarily abstain from this one because I think we need to move forward. And if something big came our way though, if somebody's asking for another one of these for a totally other reason, I think we need to revisit us abstaining again
Yeah.
and letting it go back to the other three members.
Yeah.
So just,
If it's a big issue, I think so.
but that's just us.
but for the point that Sherry's making, that makes perfect sense. Why
Yeah.
spend all this money and then not spend this much money
Yeah,
to make it work?
just getting to the
Get it
finish line.
efficient.
Get to the
It
finish
only
line.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So second it, you ready?
Got a second?
Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely.
second.
Discussion's completed, if
Mhm.
everybody's okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0.
Okay.
Now, one other issue is we need to make sure that the council has actually okayed this, or whether we need to take it back to the council to get a vote.
The council does, and then we have to add it to our plan. So all three, we've done one of three steps for this.
Okay, you guys are meeting the 7th?
Mhm.
Yes.
So we can
We
add it
can
to
add
that
it to our
agenda.
plan.
Just say the
7th,
agenda's
and
going
then
out tomorrow.
The next
Okay.
council meeting.
And then Amanda's mailing property tax documents 1st of April.
Mhm.
So we may want to, as a council, have a special meeting after you approve it,
Yep, have a 5-minute.
5-minute meeting, just to approve this, to move it on,
Mhm.
so she can function.
Yeah.
Like even that night afterwards, or the next day, or whatever.
I think
works.
ours I always forget, the next one's during the day, isn't it?
Mm-mm.
It's a night, oh, it's the
Six in the
night.
evening.
So it's
6 in the
perfect.
evening?
6 evenings, so there you
So
go.
maybe if you can get together 4 councilmen
Yeah.
after you guys, so we can.
And we just have to advertise a public meeting.
Right. Yeah.
And that's plenty of time to do that, correct, Teresa?
You gotta do it tomorrow.
I'm missing out on what you're saying. This is going to be on the commissioner's agenda for the 7th, correct?
Correct.
For the amending,
And then have a special council meeting following that.
that will be up to Pam to get that, or we can get a hold of council members to see if we can get a quorum.
Right.
And when
And
would
when are
that
you
have to be
wanting that
advertised?
done?
Right after the commissioners?
On the
Only a
7th.
5-minute, and if not, we can do it during the day or something, strictly only for approving this one item.
If the meeting's on Monday at 6 o'clock, then it has to be Thursday at 6 o'clock, the agenda and notice has to be out? Is that right? Is that 48 hours?
At least 2 business days, yes.
Yeah, so Thursday it has to be done at least, so that you've got,
If the commissioners, if you know,
is that,
Randy,
yeah.
could you call
If
the
you-
other
if you're not wanting to
commissioners
meet
and
right
say
after the
they're
commissioners
Council.
meeting, which,
Council,
that's going to
okay.
put it kind of late. That meeting agenda's got a lot of stuff on it.
okay,
Well,
What if you
For
did
your
it
meeting
before?
coming up.
okay.
It's got
If you
the
did it
animal
before, like at
proposal and all that
5:30 or
stuff.
Yeah, we can't do it
It
before
may
the
be a-
commissioners.
No, you
Okay.
can, you
That'd be a
can.
late meeting.
We can approve it before you ever.
It doesn't have to be in our plan for them to approve it, do it? Oh, no, because you have to approve it, so no, I'm sorry.
That's what I thought.
That was
You have
bad.
to do it first.
I forgot, yeah, you're not just approving doing it, you're appropriating
You're
it, so
approving
it has to
the
be there.
intent Because you're going to have to.
Sorry.
They'd have to make a motion of intent. That's all you can ask
What
for
if
from
you
the
go
council.
Tuesday at 6 p.m.?
Or during the day.
Or 4
Or
o'clock,
during the day, I mean,
day.
for one of these meetings like this here, we can do it at,
5 minutes.
yeah, it's 5 minutes
Yeah.
all it takes, so.
It's just a motion of intent.
Let's, we need to schedule it. Let me talk to some of the others to see who's
Yeah.
around and how we can get 4 people here.
We'll leave that to you.
And we're going to depend on you passing it on the 7th,
Okay.
so.
I don't
Okay.
see any issues with that.
Yeah, we'll put it on the agenda.
And then you'll let Teresa know, right?
Right. As soon as we find out that I get 4 warm bodies. Uh-oh, meeting must be over. Speaking of
You said warm bodies and it died.
Wore it out, it's over.
Well, I had a couple questions.
Now, where do they go? The public comment portion that we always look forward to, so if anyone has a comment, question,
Did I miss do you have a date that these applications need to be in?
Yeah.
24th.
The 24th
At 4
Yes.
PM,
March.
isn't it?
March.
March.
4 PM.
Okay, 24th of March. Thank you.
And will this group have another meeting before March, will we have a meeting on March 24th?
March 24th, we have one scheduled, and at that time, as right now, I have no idea, I don't think anyone else does, who's applied. The 24th, we'll know who has applied, and we'll all sign statements of conflict or not, whether we'll go ahead. Then between that period of time and the 8th of April, we'll all go through the rubric, and then it'll calculate, then we'll come up on the 8th and hopefully award.
April 10th or 12th, isn't it, for the award?
I don't know, I thought it was the
Yeah.
8th.
No, it's not the 8th.
It's not the 8th?
No, hold on.
12th.
12th.
Is it the 12th?
April 12th is your
12th,
award
okay.
meeting. So make sure when you look at, whoever's looking into these locations, it's the April 12th meeting,
Yeah.
and you were looking at 4 o'clock.
The review is the 25th through the 4th. Through the
You're going to
8th.
review the 25th through the 8th,
Mhm.
but your meeting is on the 12th.
It's on the 12th for award. So we have to get our work done by the 8th.
And do we turn those in through the portal, through the?
Everything has to be submitted through the Community Foundation
Foundation?
portal.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Documents for viewing and timeline and the guide and all of that can be found on the county website.
Okay.
And that's where I'll upload the rubrics that they just went over this evening as well.
Anything else?
Did Tara think the meeting was at 5?
I guess.
No, I think she knew it was at 4.
There she is.
Oh. Maybe
Well, let's
Tara
adjourn
thought-
this as quick
I
as.
make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Ask one more question before you-
Sure,
You're gonna
sure.
get us in
On the
trouble.
application, it says project title. What is the project title? Is it the title of our organization, or is it the, what are you looking for there?
It's whatever you want to title the project, to tell you the truth. I mean, it could be your organization project number 1 but it's just the name of your project is what it amounts to.
Okay, so we kind of come up with our own name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
the Perry County?
No.
Nope,
Okay.
nope.
All right, that's what I needed.
It's what you want to call it.
Whatever, oh, that's scary.
It's marketing 101, right? There you go.
Never know. Thanks, Greg.
Yeah.
Greg, I got a question. Will we have a beer and wine at your house after the meeting?
Which meeting?
We'll talk later.
They
right.
just went through the rubrics and the conflict of interest.
I seconded the adjournment.
Wine.
I work on Eastern Time.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're done.
Oh,
Sorry, Kara.
I didn't get, who seconded?
I did.
I did have comments on all this stuff, but,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.